is pretty much the kind of things you're gonna need if you're doing a drywall project. It's a whole variety of trowels. We call these actually drywall knives. They're all called drywall knives. Some people might call them trowels. But basically what you're gonna need is a pan for your drywall mud, okay? And then obviously on all your joints you're going to be putting drywall tape, and they have different types of this. This is like a mesh tape one with the adhesive that just sticks on there, and then you can mud over it. Or they have the paper tape, which is a little more old school, but you can use it for corners and stuff like that. I like to use the paper one for, and then this one more on just like the straight line joints. But there's different tapes for different things, but basically obviously a knife to cut your tape and cut your drywall and all that stuff. You're also going to want a mask because you're not going to want to be breathing all that drywall dust, you know. Another thing that comes in handy is a small mixer paddle like this to mix the drywall mud, especially if you're using like a 20-minute or a 5-minute mud. Then you're just normally mixing it right in your pan. If you're getting box mud, it's still nice to mix in a little bit of water on your pre-mixed mud. Okay, so obviously you might need other tools like squares and big drywall tees, squares and stuff like that, but basically we're just going to be going over mostly the tools needed. I'm not even going to really talk about the screws, like drywall screws, that's also needed. But basically, as far as the tools go, it generally comes down to 3 of these drywall knives we use. We'd start off with like on a typical joint line, right? We'd start off with a small one, and then we move up to like a medium one, okay? And then for the first coat, we'd use a smaller one. Second coat, we use a medium one to feather it out a little bit more. And then the third coat and last coat, we would use the larger one that feathers it out even more. Okay, so there's different size trowels. You know, this medium one, you might want to use this one, just really depending on the situation. Also, this is a good one too. We use this to scoop out of the bucket. So if we pour all the mud, all the drywall compound into a bucket, and then we need to scoop it out and into our tray. This one works really well because it has the same contour of the bucket, so you can just get right up along it, put it right into your bucket. So that's what we use this one for. It's also nice to have little ones in case you got to get around, like maybe there's a light switch next to a corner or something, you got to get in that little area. It's good to have these little trowels as well. Also for your corners, okay, we have these corner trowels, which you know, gets right up in there. Sometimes I push against these 2 sides as I go down just to squeeze out all the mud from the tape. But once you do your first coat, maybe you can switch it up to a larger one for your second and third coat. But that's your corner trowel. And then last but not least, we have a rasp, and this is what we use for when we're cutting our drywall. After you cut your drywall, sometimes it has kind of like a jaggedy edge and all that, and this is just kind of like a sander for the drywall, just to make your edge nice and clean to butt up to another piece of drywall. So it's always good to rasp your edges that you cut before you hang the drywall. So I guess we could talk about this. This is called a 5-in-1. It has 5 applications in one. So, you know, you can do all kinds of things with it. Probably more than 5. But these come in handy for all sorts of things, and it's good to have around for just popping the lids of cans and scraping and doing different sorts of things. 5-in-1, and it's nice and kind of sturdy. The other thing is, sometimes if you're scraping at things and dinging things, you don't want to ding up these trowels, because you'd rather use something like this that you always use for scraping and not mess up your good trowels, because if there's any little nicks or dings on there, it's going to leave that line or indentation in the drywall mud. So you really want these straight, and you don't want any little nicks or dings in them. Okay, so hope that video helps. See you guys on the next one.